legacy that is the Symphony of Soul is very special to me, but the sound of downtown is something that is very close and dear to my heart.
Welcome back to Helix Conversations. I'm Preston Castille. I'm the President and CEO of Helix Community Schools, and boy, do I have a special guest today. Mr. Bingham is already laughing. Michael Bingham, I'm so glad to have you here today at Helix
I'm honored to be here as well.
You know, there's such this funny story, and we laugh about it all the time. Michael Bingham, you are now the band director for Helix Mentorship and Maritime Academy. So I just got to tell the story before we get started. So, Mr. Bingham, I want everybody in the audience to understand that's listening and watching that for about 2 years, I tried to recruit Michael Bingham to come and start a band here at Mentorship. And Michael Bingham would look at me and politely, and Mr. Bingham is my fraternity brother, and he would give me this look and go, no, I can't do it now. And I'd ask him again, and he'd go, no, I can't do it now. And then one day, Miss Richardson comes up, our arts program director, and she says, I know this really talented guy who would be great to start our band program. Yep. And I go, who is that? And she says, Michael Bingham. That guy's turned me down so many times, there's no way he's coming. And you then say, oh yeah, I'm interested. And I was thinking, I want to be offended, but I'm so excited that you're going to be joining us. So thank you for saying yes.
No, it was just a timing thing. I guess the timing and God's planning aligned for us to allow this to happen. And once everything did, it has been phenomenal since. I find it funny that I remember maybe 6 months before there was a program that you all had, and my brass band ended up playing, and a lot of the kids came up and asked, like, well, we want a band, we want a band. And so I think that might have been the spark that just kind of pushed it over the edge, to see the actual desire and the want and the hunger from the students to actually learn music and become a part of a band program. I think that was like the selling point for me. But it works out and we're here, so I'm glad to be here.
So Michael Bingham, again, for everybody to know, you are a humble man, and you probably won't brag on yourself the way I will, but you're multi-talented. You can sing, you can, I believe, play just about any instrument that there is.
Yeah.
I watch you practicing with band, and you'll grab a trumpet, a trombone, you'll be playing on the keyboards, and then you'll sing with the band. And I'm just so impressed with the talents that you brought to our school. So tell us about Michael Bingham. Tell us, people want to know, who is this guy that has created this phenomenal band known as the Sound of Downtown?
Yes, so I definitely can. As you all know, my name's Michael. I'm a graduate of Baker High School. I'm from Baker. I grew up there, marched in the Baker High School Symphony of Soul under the direction of Dr. Taylor, who's now the head director at Southern University and A&M College for the Human Jukebox. I grew up in the church, so my musical background kind of started there. I started playing instruments when I was like 7, singing in the choir, playing drums. My aunt played keyboards, so that's when I first started to pitter-pat with the keys right then, and just began to develop this love and passion for music. So as I got older, I was able to be in spaces, and I had directors that gave me the opportunity to see what it was like to actually be a band director and to push me and further my craft. So by the time I was a senior in high school, I was actually over our beginning concert band, because at Baker we had 2 bands. So Dr. Taylor was over the first band, and I was a student conductor over the beginning group. I was captain of the band. I performed on several stages. I had a group of my friends and myself. We came together and put together a small band to open up at an Anthony Hamilton concert when I was in high school.
So high school?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. My good friend Shalirik, she graduated from Scotlandville as well. She's a phenomenal vocalist. Me, myself, a couple other students at Baker, we came together and went to Southern University Mini Dome and got on a big stage as seniors.
Wow, I'm blown away.
So I've just been blessed and afforded the opportunity to be in spaces that cultivated my craft and allowed me to develop my passion. So once I got to Southern, it was the same thing there. Being a part of the Human Jukebox was a life-changing experience. We traveled worldwide. I got to meet congressmen, senators, famous musicians, famous artists, athletes. That was my first time ever flying on a plane when I got in Southern Band. So it was a life-changing experience for me, and it also gave me the skills and resources that I need to do the job as effectively as I do. So Once I graduated, I was the director at Baker High School for a brief tenure. And then that's when God opened things and aligned things for me to be here at Helix and to actually start the band program. So since then, I've been here, and it has been nothing but a beautiful song that we have been creating.
Yeah, I want to talk about connections though, because my pastor used to always say that God writes straight with crooked lines, and I would say, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And that you might not be able to see where he's going, but you get there and you go, I see what was happening. And so when I hear you say that you went to Baker High, that you performed in their band, that you graduated from Baker High, now you're the band director at Helix Mentorship, but now Baker is also now Baker High, a Helix school.
Yes.
And it's all tying together that you're a Baker guy, ended up at Helix, and now Helix and Baker have combined, and now Baker High, Park Ridge are part of the Helix family. God writes straight with crooked lines sometimes.
Yes, it does. And that really, once I saw that, my heart definitely became overjoyed and overwhelmed. Because when I hear the slogan, come home to Baker, that has personal resonance to me. So for us to now be a part of the same network and for us to be a part of the same district, we can still work together to further the arts and for them to continue to support their program as they grow while we still build the program here. Because the legacy that is the Symphony of Soul is very special to me, but the sound of downtown is something that is very close and dear to my heart. This is a personal baby of mine, so I love my situation. I love being here, and I just love how God did everything.
Well, it's more than just your personal baby. It really is, because you are the founder of the Helix Mentorship Band, the sound of downtown. That's your genius working there. And I don't know that people who have not heard or seen the sound of downtown, our band, understand that we, Mentorship, for years never had a band. Talked about it. When I joined Helix about 5.5 years ago, I said, I can't imagine going to a football game and there not being a marching band. I want a band. I want a band. But when you came on board, I said, in 4 or 5 years, we'll have a pretty good band. You had a band performing in a year. And now we're a little over 2 years in. Is that right?
Yeah, September 1st made 2 years to the day. So we're now in our 3rd year of band.
Yeah. And how many band members do you have?
We currently have 45 high school band members. I have 18 middle schoolers, and we have over, I want to say 60 kids in band classes total.
Well, if my math is correct, between the high school and the middle school, that's 63. And because this is recorded, someone's going to check my math. But that's a huge number for a band to have only existed for 2 years. I've got some of your band members that will stop me on the sidewalk and say, Mr. Castille, we've gotten too big. We need a bigger band room. Like, you've only existed 2 years. It's like having a little baby that's born, and now it's like a big grown man or woman already.
Yeah.
And blowing and sounding phenomenal. We're here in downtown. So one of the criticisms that we get with the band is that you're so loud and that everybody can hear you. And when everybody says, I hear that band playing, I hear the drum line playing, I go, music to my ears, literally and figuratively. And it's such a wonderful, wonderful thing. Now, you mentioned Dr. Taylor. So again, keeping it all in the family, the fact that Dr. Taylor is the band director at Southern University, the Human Jukebox, and was previously the band director at Baker High, and your band director. Talk about keeping it all in the family. What a rich, not only history, but set of talents that we have right here locally in this community. To have you come out of Baker, to come out of Southern University, to have Dr. Taylor to come out of Baker, come out of Southern University, leading Southern University, and now we're all somehow tied and connected to Helix Community Schools. So in terms of Helix conversations, this is a really, really special conversation. So you now, in addition to leading this band, I've gone into the band room and I heard that there are 2 things that have happened. One, I remember last year I heard the sound from the band room and I said, okay, our high school band, they're pretty good, but that must be like some recording or something. You had your professional band practicing in our band room. You are in a brass band,
Yes.
and you are part of other bands as well.
Yeah, so outside of being a music educator, I'm also an artist and performer as well. I do studio work. Me and my little brother, we have our own recording studio, so we work with several artists. He tends to do more of the audio engineering, while I focus on the production and live performances. So I have my own brass band and my own stage band. We perform various places. My brass band, we've opened up for Michael Foster Project, Rebirth Brass Band, and several other large, well-notable groups here and around the Louisiana, Baton Rouge area. So it's definitely has been rewarding for me, and it's also been beneficial because I'm able to allow my kids the opportunity to grow in those spaces as well. Because after they see my band perform, my kids are like, "Oh, Mr. Bingham, we want to do what you do." So I'm like, "Okay, we can definitely do that. If you want to learn, I'm going to teach you what you need to know." So last year we were able to actually travel to New Orleans for the Class Got Brass competition, and kids performed their very first second line as a brass band unit here from Helix Mentorship Academy. And it all kind of stemmed from kids looking and seeing what I was doing and what I had going on. Because with my students, I'm very transparent. My students know outside of being a teacher, Mr. Bingham is a musician. He has this standard of excellence across the board, not just here with us, but even here with himself and his own music. So it's just a rewarding fact. I love that my life is centered around music, and I'm able to also teach this passion while also pursue it personally.
Yeah, there's a saying that those who can't do teach. You debunk that because you can teach, but you can also do. You can perform. In fact, that's how I got to know you and thought, what a great person we could have because I saw you performing, not teaching, but performing. And when you can perform and show your students that, no, I can really do this. I really know what I'm doing, and they can hear you playing, and that you can teach them, but you can also show them, and they can see that this is real, and here is what you can do if you practice real hard. I mentioned that I heard your brass band practicing once, but there was another day that maybe a couple months ago, if that long, I'm passing under the breezeway, and I hear what I think again is a recording. And then I look, and there's this young lady playing the flute. And I'm thinking, this can't be real. How is it that a student here at Helix that's only been in a band that's only existed 2 years sounds so good that I mistook, if you will, the fact that she was a recording. In fact, she was live. She was performing.
Yes.
That is extraordinary. And so I was blown away. And then the next day I come by and I hear kind of the same song, but then there's a tuba player. And I'm thinking, that's got to be one of ours now. And sure enough, two of our players working together, collaborating, improvising a little bit, thinking, what a gift. So I played in a band. I love the band, our band, because this is what I always wanted to do in life. And now I get to live vicariously through you and our students performing every day. You are an incredible gift from God to us. So keep doing what you're doing. So tell me, we're at 63 plus students. Where do you think our band can go? What's your vision for the band of the future for Helix Mentorship and Maritime Academy?
The vision for the band here at Helix Mentorship Maritime Academy, far as housing us, God is still blessing me with a plan for that. So we're going to trust His plan as He grows and adds to us. We're going to find a space that's adequate for us. But we're adding students every day. So I envision seeing this program being the premier program when we look for comprehensive band programs in Louisiana, not just in Baton Rouge. For us to have a proficient concert band that has gotten superior ratings on stage, has performed on multiple stages, to have a proficient jazz band where students are actively pursuing their crafts and able to make money and resources from their gifts and talents. For us to have a marching band that wins phenomenal competitions, first place Battle of the Bands, marching parades from the Rose Bowl parade, going to Disney World and marching Mardi Gras. All of those things I envision and I know that we're capable of achieving. So it's just about making sure that we continue on the path that we're on. My kids know that we live by the saying that excellence is the standard that we live by. And they know that the excellence is the definition of excellence is the product of hard work and extra effort that creates the difference between an acceptable job and an outstanding job. So long as we continue to put in that hard work, come every day and make sure that each day we leave better than the day before, I know that all of these goals are going to be achieved.
Yeah, well, that's extraordinary. When I think about what you just said and unpacking that a little bit, you've got kids that are learning marching band, you've got concert band, you have brass band, and so they're learning all these different forms of art. One, the exposure is extraordinary. The notion that they can do all these things and they're developing talents. What do you imagine our kids going beyond college? Do you think some of them will be musicians?
Yes. Well, actually, I do want to make sure I highlight the first student that we have had from Helix Mentorship and Maritime Academy, Mr. Sire Rome. He graduated in the class of 2025, and he's currently right now a band member in the Human Jukebox at Southern University. He is the first student from Helix Mentorship Academy to get a scholarship and to go to college and play music in a collegiate band. So I know that this next coming class, I'm anticipating a good number of them. So he was the first one, and now the doors are open. So students are actively working towards that goal. If you talk to them and you ask them, a lot of them will name a lot of universities that they want to go to. They know I advocate for Southern University as a graduate, but I'm an advocate for higher learning. And if music and the arts can get us there, by all means, I'm going to push them and make sure that we put them in spaces to allow them the opportunity to achieve their goals and further their dreams.
Yeah, that's extraordinary. When I think about, again, a band that's only been around 2 years and now has a student playing in the Human Jukebox band, and if you know anything about college bands, you know, bar none, how profound, prolific, extraordinary the Southern Band is, and to have one of our Helix students and more to come performing in one of the best bands, if not the best band in the country, is incredible. So I know that I can thank you for them, because what you are doing for them and the doors that you're opening is absolutely incredible. So I was sitting here and I was listening to you, Mr. Bingham, and I was thinking that he's got this musician's voice, that raspy voice, and people who are listening are gonna go, "Ah, man, he sounds like this cool jazz musician guy." And I want everybody to know that he is, and that you've done some great things. So I can't thank you enough for all that you're doing. But you teach courses in the day. You're not just performing. So when you teach, you're not just teaching, oh, let's listen to this song and let's emulate it. You're teaching at a deep, substantive level. Tell us about your pedagogy.
Okay, yeah. So I'm a firm believer of making sure that students have a comprehensive knowledge of music. A lot of times we see the band performing on Friday nights, we see the band in parades, and we hear the songs, we hear the tunes that we're familiar with, and we often think that kids just get it by listening to it. But it's a very, very methodical process that I follow. I often use the analogy of building a house. Before we can pour a foundation, before we can put walls up, before we can paint or do anything, we first have to have a blueprint. So I have a document that I created called the Blueprint that kind of goes through everything that a student would need to begin their journey in music. And that, with the other resources that I have, we've spent a lot of our class time making sure they have a good understanding of the theory side. So once we start to get those basic fundamentals, as an arranger, because I write all of our music for our band, or either I edit it, I make some tweaks and adjustments to tailor it for our kids. So based off where they're located, I take those fundamentals and I simply incorporate them in a way that's recognizable to them. So if we know that a whole note gets 4 counts, and we know that, all right, we see the second line of the staff is G, all right, we're gonna play this for 4 counts. We know how that we can work that in, and we can incorporate that with what my intermediate and advanced students have been doing, to where we hear the songs that we're used to recognizing, and they're playing with us, but they're playing what's comfortable for them. They're playing something that's tailored and suited and individualized for their ability, for where they're located at. So I've learned that encourages students and gives them a sense of pride and a sense of ownership, because a lot of times when they come in the band room as a first-time player, and I'm pretty sure if you think back to when you were first in band and you think of the person that was in first chair, you heard it and it was like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this. So for them to feel more pride and to feel more comfortable with themselves, I make sure that their parts are tailored for them while still going along and shadowing those same fundamentals that we will work on in class. So once we get to the game Friday, you're comfortable and confident in playing the same thing that we've been playing in class, but now we just put a little drum beat to it. We got a little bit of flash and a little bit of showmanship, and now we see the full product, but it still is all a result of the work that's going on in class. So
I had a great band director in high school, had a great experience, and it would be so much fun to come back and serve in your band. I love that what you're doing from a foundational standpoint and teaching music theory. Kids learn to read music, they learn to perform, they do it all. Mr. Michael Bingham, you are changing the lives of children for the better, and you're changing this community and you're changing this planet. I'm so proud of the sound of downtown and what you brought to Helix Community Schools. This has been a wonderful Helix conversation. Please don't stop doing what you're doing. If you make it big and you get that performing artist contract that you want, don't forget the little people here at Helix. Mr. Michael Bingham, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This has been another wonderful episode of Helix Conversations. Mr. Michael Bingham, musician, extraordinarily talented guy. And this is an example of the education that you get here at Helix Community Schools. Please join us again for another episode of Helix Conversations.